Hi, this is Dr. Harris, and I wanted to make a video that talks about the topic of this course, research for writing nonfiction. Our class is going to focus around 3 books. The first is Jennifer Case's A Search for Place, or Sawbill, A Search for Place, and you can find information on her book here on your course website. She'll actually be coming to speak to us in September, and then she'll follow that up with an online Q&A that you'll be able to watch remotely. We'll also be streaming her conference as well, so you'll be able to see that, or hopefully, if you can't make it, view the recording. After Jenny, we're going to talk a little bit about archival research and researching people. And that's when George Jensen's going to come speak to us. He's the author of Some of the Words Are Theirs, a memoir of an alcoholic family. And he's going to, again, come to campus, talk to us about his book and read his book for us. And he's also going to be joining us to do some discussions about how to do archival research or to work with collections in your research process. And then lastly, we are a part of the Winthrop Rockefeller Distinguished Lecture Series for 2018. And the distinguished lecturer will be Matthew Desmond, who wrote Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City. And that's a Pulitzer Prize winning book. And we can't stream his speech because of the contract issues from him coming to campus, but we're hopefully going to be able to stream a Q&A for those of you at a distance. And I'll talk about as the semester goes on kind of how those readings are going to work. But the important thing is that we're going to have authors coming to campus whose works we are reading, who we can ask questions to about their research process and about how they integrate the kind of external research with their internal memories and vision for their work. So those are our 3 guest lecturers. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about week 1 of the course and what we'll be doing in week 1. We'll have 2 activities pretty much every week. One will be a discussion or some sort of a guest lecture, and the other should be a research journal, or I might ask you to do some reflection on the lecture that we saw. Week 1, we're just going to start thinking about reading like a writer and thinking about what research in nonfiction means. This course is going to be a little bit different than other courses you've probably had, in that what I'd like you to do is start working from projects you already have started. So for some of you who are working up to a master's thesis or maybe a final portfolio, you should have some pieces that you've worked on from other nonfiction classes or the 3317 class. If you have no nonfiction, we can talk about maybe starting and generating some nonfiction. But what I'm really interested in this class is that we take the materials you've already written and shape them using research to add that kind of depth and texture and focus that you can really get out of research writing. So in week 1, what I'd like you to do is just kind of read over this website and then introduce yourself to us. And to introduce you, tell us who you are, what your writing or professional goals are, what are you working toward, either with the projects that we're using for the class or in general in your life. And then select one piece of nonfiction writing that you love that speaks to you in some way. And using the terms from Mike Bunn's How to Read Like a Writer, which I've linked in here, tell us why that piece appeals to you and kind of think about practicing reading the piece like a writer. So not just I love it because it's so beautiful or it's evocative or it's about my sister and it reminds me of my sister or whatever. But look at what about the piece, using some of Mike Bunn's language, actually makes it pop out to you. What structures and what in the piece makes the writing work for you. We're going to be following that through the rest of the term. I'll let you read over this note about discussion boards. It describes discussion boards in our course. They're evaluated for engagement, for content, and for clarity, and this section describes that all. And then the last thing I want you to do this week is to compile an introductory portfolio for me. So this is going to be writing you've already done, nonfiction, memoir, no fiction or poetry, please, because we're not dealing with those in this class, but any kind of nonfiction you've done, at least 3 pieces. If you don't have 3 pieces, then contact me and we'll talk about what you could put in here. And you're going to create that in your UAL or Google Drive. And I walked through that in the first video. You can go to your drive, go to new, and just create a new folder. Name that introductory portfolio in your name, and then share that with me. And then create a Google Doc, and you'll do that in that same place. Once you're in that folder, you can just go to new again and create a Google Doc. And do a little reflection on the pieces that you submitted to me. So tell me about your history writing nonfiction, what your goals are for the course. It might just be that you're taking this course because it's an elective and it's online. That's fine too. But what kinds of things do you want to get from it? And then I'd like you to set some really concrete goals. So I'd like to have one essay submitted to Quills and Pixels and have that polished and ready. Or you'd like to have it a short piece ready for brevity. Whatever your final goals are in the course, set those out in that reflection letter, and then you and I are going to negotiate what's going to go in that final portfolio. So it's kind of a work on your own thing. Not everybody's going to be creating the same types of projects at the same pace. It's really going to be taking what you've already done and moving that writing to the next level. So share that Google Drive folder with me, and then I will go in and use all of your reflections and where you're at in the class to shape what we're going to do the rest of the course. So one of the reasons you only see week 1 and 2 is that I haven't created all of the rest of the course. I'm waiting to find out what your goals are, and then I'm going to integrate the work that we're going to do in with the goals that you have. So that's week 1. Get started, read the Mike Bunn piece, go into Blackboard, post your discussions, subscribe to your threads. There's information about subscribing there so you can keep up with that. And let me know if you have any questions about week 1.